Okay. So sorry for that. So, like I said, I am a fourth year PC student. I am a non-traditional student. What that means is that after completing my undergraduate work, my undergraduate studies, I did a postbac at UPenn and I worked on hair development. Then I worked and did a master program at Drexel University. And after that, I decided to continue working. And then I decided that I was ready to pursue the PhD. So I say this especially for students who have been at our school for a while, not to be scared. And preparing for a graduate school interview is really not very different from getting an interview at graduate school. So my advice is target to student applying to PhD program in biomedical sciences. I'm not familiar with all the type of interview since my background is mostly in molecular biology. And the way I structure this talk today is that we're going to talk about how to prepare for that big day. What does it mean? When do you start your interview? And I'm going to give some advice for people who are going to the interview over Zoom or just virtually. What does it mean to be interviewed? There's something to always to keep in mind. What does it mean that I have been selected to be part of this interview process? And how you're currently preparing. Since you're here, that means that you're already in the process. I'm going to talk about that more later. And then, so the interview process is question, answer, and behavior. So first part, the questions, and which is a big chunk of the interview. So I'm going to give you some tips or typical questions to prepare for faculties and students. Please don't forget that students are part of the interview process and they were selected as valuable member of the interview process. So treat them with respect. And I have been one of those students in the PhD interview process. During the day of the interview, dress professionally, but at the same time comfortable. The process is long, the day is going to be long. So you want to be able to feel comfortable during this whole day. And bring paper or electronic notepad or your computer, but make sure they're they're charged. Make sure you carry your charger with you because you don't want to carry an electronic pad and it's not charged. And I will talk a little more about that. And then also part of the interview process is that there might be social gathering where either you go to a restaurant or the house or the apartment of one of the faculty to assess how you interact with other people. So keep that in mind. And then we're going to touch upon very briefly what after the interview. Okay. So when does the interview start? So applying, as you probably know, applying for graduate school is a long process. As you remember when you started gathering information about the school that you want to apply, who you're going to work with. The process has been long. You probably started either 2 years ago if you are a post-bac student. So when does this process start? So the interview, I remember this was an advice that was given to me. The interview starts as soon as you leave your house, your apartment, your place. So as soon as you leave your house, be in the interview mode because you don't know either if you have to fly to another state or you have to, go to a school around you. If you're gonna meet with the other students in your cohort that are going to be interviewing, or if you're gonna, meet with a faculty or someone who's going to be interviewing you later. So as soon as you leave your house, honestly, be in the interview mode because you don't want to say something wrong. So as soon as you leave, interview mode. And when does it start for people who are going to individually? I feel like you start as soon as you open your computer. When I interviewed for my PhD, I was interviewed virtually. And In order to feel comfortable, it's like preparing for an exam. Make sure you go to that place beforehand so you know where chargers are located, the outlets are located, and you are very familiar with that room. Sit down, do mock interview in that room. So you feel comfortable if it's too cold or too hot, you know what to do on that day. And you also have a plan B. So be in a quiet place, be in a place where you actually can communicate with the person on the screen, have excellent internet connection, make sure that your internet service is working. And for that reason, if you've been in that room before, you are familiar with how the internet connection is in that room because you don't want to be in a room where on the day of the interview you find out that this was the wrong place to be. So just be there, just go there ahead of time. And that way you know if it's their great lightning. And if you have to bring your own lightning, you know where to put it. And practice looking at the camera. At first it was hard for me, but many of you had to take classes online or went through the process of having a lot of meeting communication through Zoom or or other platform. So make sure that you are comfortable looking at a camera so the other person feel like you are talking to them and be engaged, lean forward. Try to let the other person know that even we are not, meeting in person, I'm engaged and I'm listening to you. So what does it mean to be interviewed? Well, it means that out of all these applications that the school received, you are perceived to be a potential applicant. So congratulations. Um, People believe and they have great intentions of bringing you in and just realize and just get to know you as a person and get to know more about you. And you are not just, I'm going to make a temporary joke, but you're not AI, okay? You are not a robot. You are an actual person who applied to the program. And also, this is a two-way process. They're not only interviewing you, but you are interviewing them. This is an opportunity for you to finalize the process, to screen the program and see if everything that um, you learn about the school, the faculties. It's actually true. Is this a place where you want to spend 5 to 6 years of your life? Okay, so just be comfortable in asking questions and see if this is the place for you, if this is the best fit. Then, how are you currently prepared? Like I said at the beginning of the presentations, if you're here today, it means that you are actually preparing, and the preparation started as soon as you decided that you're going to apply to graduate school. You already did this mentally. You started this a long time ago. So don't feel that you're starting from scratch. The information that I'm going to give you today are probably questions that you already know. You definitely, most likely, have the answers to the questions you're going to hear today. They're already in your personal statement. This is not new to you. So I would say to breathe in, feel calm, and rely on what you have done before. And for now on, because most of the deadline for most of the school were December 1st. I know there are a few other schools that are due January 1st up to February, I believe, early February. But just know that you started as soon as you decided to apply to graduate school. And now you're going to, concentrate more in the other part of the application process, which is the questions, answers, and behavior. So preparing your questions. I have a list of questions that are very common and they were asked to me, and I know they tend to be asked to students. First, I'm going to start with the questions to the faculties. Tell me about your research. This is very common, as you probably know. They want to know about You want to ask them what they're doing. But I have more to say about this because just asking, tell me about your research may come across as if you did not bother in reading in there, reading about them. What makes this program or institution department unique? You want to know what the person think about this institution. And is anything that you miss from the website that they should, you want them to share with you. Also to ask them what is what they like about the institute. And I'm gonna go more into more detail forward. So asking the faculty, tell me about your research. I will be very careful not just to start just asking them about their research, but inform them, start the conversation, let them know that, look, I got the list of people that I was going to meet with. I researched your work. And you don't have to tell all these little details, but come across, give a great impression that you have made an effort to learn everything possible about them because you are interested in their work and you are invested in this process. When people come across just asking questions about, tell me about research, especially to faculty, it it definitely can give a bad impression. It can come across like if this is just um, new to you that we were meeting, do you bother in taking the time to read about my work? So I would make sure that you read, you go to PubMed, you go to their website and read about their most current, I said few older paper, but the most current work. Take notes of questions that you want to ask. Be engaged in the reading. Truly read for you to ask questions. Okay. And another advice is that will be very helpful to you is as you read about their work, try to figure out what would you do if you were to become a PhD student or postdoc, and that's pushing a little bit. How will you move this project forward? Think about what kind of contribution do they do to the field? And this will prepare you for a very engaging conversation. Okay. And then as you are, asking questions about their research, do not get fixated with one faculty because this is only an interview and you don't know if you're actually going to join the school or even rotate with this person. So don't compromise yourself. Don't feel like because you're talking to this person, this is a person that you're going to work with. Definitely have more than one person with whom you will potentially rotate and work. As I was preparing for this presentation, I remember in one of the our accounts meeting, Dr. Joe Oppenheim, who unfortunately passed away this year, he was a senior associate dean at NYU, at the graduate school at NYU, and he said, a relationship is like an onion. So you start peeling the onion, and if you get to the point that you don't like that person, you're gonna have to stop the relationship. Okay, so this is just the beginning of potential relationship, and do not fixate in one single person. And then after this, you can then move on and asking the question that I mentioned before. And something that is important also to ask faculty to demonstrate, interest that yes, you're going to, if you get to join this school department, you want to know about how they think about students, what their advice the student who were in their lab, how is to work in their lab. Do you just come up with a project or the project handed out to you? Okay, this is really good. I really love this this question, and I have learned the more I have, helped student in preparing for um, interview. I feel that it's good just to have an idea how PIs potentially help student to navigate their lab. and where they're student right now. And you can actually get this information if they have a LinkedIn or also on their website. They should actually have current and past former student, and you can look for yourself where are these students, and also ask them what is your mentorship style, and just be aware that people change, with time. So this is just things that you just want to get a taste of how do they manage their relationship with students. And finally, I will ask to, are you actually accepting or recruiting rotation student and consider them for position in the lab? It is possible that one of the faculty that are interviewing you might not have funding and they just, part of the interview process, but they're not considering in having students to rotate. And if they are rotating, how likely is that I can actually join the lab? I mean, come and rotate in the lab. And they're also going to ask you questions. Okay. It's not you asking them, but also they asking you. And one of the questions that it sounds vague, but this is in your personal statement. And one of them is tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself is not tell me about your entire life, but tell me about your background, your scientific background. And when I was interviewing and I see on the student, preparing for this, use your personal statement as a guide. How do you decided to go into science? How do I prepare a story? And just think about it. How do I really get into science? What motivated me to pursue this path? And then they definitely going to ask you, tell me about your research project. Have a concise answer. Try to, again, use your personal statement and don't have it memorized. You know this already. You know your project. You know it well. So be familiar with the work that you have done. Be prepared to answer future experiment. They're going to ask you if you were to, be continuing this project, what would you do next? What will be your hypothesis? So they're testing to see if you can think in your feet and if you're able to think critically. Don't be surprised to be able to even draw pathways. And that doesn't mean that you have to just know everything, but you at least are very aware and familiar with your work, and you can explain it in detail. And then the question that I know is you definitely gonna have to is why a PhD? And why this school? What motivate you to apply for this a PhD program in the institute? And why this school? Why not another school? So make sure that you not only read about the the potential PI that you're gonna, meet with, but also make sure that you have researched the whole school and you are familiar with the latest that have been happening at the school. And what are your strengths? What make you the stronger candidate for this program? Out of so many people, why should they select you rather than somebody else? So make sure that you practice this with uh, mentors in your current PI to make sure that you are aware of your strength and know why you are a best fit for this program. We just go with the previous questions. Don't be afraid to talk about your weakness. Everybody has weakness. So I have heard a lot that people tend to say, well, my weakness, I'm a workaholic. That's really not a good, in my opinion, it's not a good answer because being a workaholic, yes, the PhD, you have to work hard, but at the same time, it's important to manage your time and take care of yourself. So being a workaholic or I'm in the lab 24/7, you just don't want to come across as you only performing experiment for the sake of, wasting reagents, but you're very thoughtful. So trying to reflect on yourself and find an answer that is honest and you can feel comfortable with. And then tell me about a challenge you have overcome in the past. That question is also speak to, have you ever come across in your work with an experiment that did not work? How did you troubleshoot your work? Were you able to go and read in the literature and find out more about your work and how to advance it? Or you are the type of person who just are sitting there and waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. So, an advice for people who are technicians or research associates. I work as a technician, and it's important to know that when you become a PhD, and you're probably doing that right now, but there is a mindset that as a PhD student, you are driving the project. You are the person who are in charge of this. So when it comes to facing challenges, you want to demonstrate that you are capable of, reflecting on the problems and you can troubleshoot. And yes, you might need help, of course, but at the same time, you take initiative. Okay. And I hope that this is something that it was probably addressed during your letters of references. And oops, sorry. And then one of the final questions that I have here is be prepared, like I said before, to, you know, draw a pathway or answer questions that are very detailed about your work. So who else will we interview you? Those are the students. There might be students who will be part of the interview process. So make sure that you have also questions for them. There is a lot of questions that you can ask a student, a lot. And I found it to be disrespectful when people do not have anything to ask a student. And it's okay. You maybe read everything about the department, the school, and there's nothing to ask. But please reflect or out of all the information out there, is there anything that it was not available on the site that you should ask the student? Definitely ask the student because the student would have a vote in the application process. So I have here, I wrote as many questions as possible just to help you honestly take one of these questions, reflect, and you have your own questions, which is good. So yes, you're going to do your homework, but at the same time, do not come in without any questions to the students. So what are the strengths of this program? Maybe it's not well delineated on the site. They're definitely going to say we are we are the best. You should come here. But the student might know information that is not posted on their website. And you want to know about the work balance. If this is the place where you can see yourself for 5 to 6 years, this is a place where I will feel comfortable. And there will be different type of student. It might be a personal decision why the person went there. So try to interact with as many people as possible and try to get as much information from them. How do they balance their work? And do they feel that are they reaching their goal? Because the same way that you are, going into this program or any other program you decide to join, you have a goal and ask them, do you feel that you're actually reaching your goal? And how is the program helping you to get there? Of course, you're taking initiative, but what is the infrastructure in the school, in the department helping you reach your goal? And that what goes to is their social intellectual cultures supportive? Do you feel supported with the school in your career goals, in with your experiment? Are there available facilities to help you with your experiment? Is there a lot of collaboration, not only with your school. If you need anything that your school doesn't have, is it possible that you can collaborate with a different institution? So that would be fantastic to know all this information. And a really piece of advice that would be great to know if for you to ask the current PhD student is if you look back when you started, and if you were to see yourself a few years ago, what would be the thing that you wish that you knew? Okay, ask student, I mean, how after learning, after being in this program and learning so much and having experiencing, having experience interviewing all the students, what do you wish you knew coming here? Also, if you care about diversity, which I definitely care a lot, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, you want to know how diverse is the student body. Are there office or activities that support people from different cultures? Are there affinity groups? It's just good to know. And is the school, sorry, and is the school prepared if the I won't be there? How are you going to feel comfortable in this program? Not every school have teaching requirement. At Mount Sinai, teaching requirement. There's no teaching requirement, but other schools have teaching requirements. So you want to know ahead of time, and you don't want to be surprised when you decide to, yes, this is a school that I'm coming, that you have to teach. So make sure that you ask for teaching requirement. How soon do you need to teach? Is there support to help you if you don't have any teaching experience? So make sure that you keep this in mind. And is there a supported, is there any way that students are helped to transition to the graduate program? You want to make sure that if there's anything there, you can use it. How soon you can use it. At Mount Sinai, I'm part of the peer program, and what the program is about is that the first year PhD students are paired with older, I mean, second, third, fourth year PhD student to help them navigate and transition into your first year. So the student will help you with telling you where housing is located, if you need information coming into New York, or if you live in New York, um, how to commute around here. So this is really good, and I find it to be very helpful. Another piece of information that is important, which is not critical now, but just it's good to have in your toolkit. What a qualifying exam. And is it a qualifying exam as it used to be years ago? Has it changed from the past year? This is just for you to know how is the PhD structure at this institution. And this is the kind of place that or department where you would feel comfortable being. And is there help? Do they have workshop to prepare you for the qualifying exam, or the way we call it at Mount Sinai is the proposal? Do they have like workshop to help you to prepare for the proposal? Which we have. We have pre-proposal meeting where it help you prepare for the real exam. So just know all these things. And by asking all these questions, of course, take notes. That's the reason why you have your notebook and pencil and your notepad, which is charged, your charged notepad. Um, when you are in the interview, tell the person, I'm going to be taking notes. Is that okay? So, because those notes are going to be very relevant in helping you in deciding, do I want to come here? And honestly, after you join the PhD program, you actually can go back and see to help you answer questions when you're in your first year. I took note. I say all my notes, and I still have note when I was interviewed. And I actually go back and I was able to answer some questions and help students too when they come to the PhD program. So, question that they might ask you, again, tell me about yourself. And this question is more, Are you a student? Are you a future PhD student who I want to be with? Are you going to be someone who's going to be supportive? Because you're going to join the department. And are you someone who I want to be with? Okay. Are you someone who's going to be resourceful? Or are you someone who's going to be, grumpy? Or because student ask this kind of information when they are, in the process of deciding, oh, I really like that person or not, and why I like that person. And the first thing that comes to mind, what kind of person are you? Are you someone who I want to be with? Student also going to ask you to tell them about your project. So the student here is not testing you to see how much science you know, but the student wants to know, are you able to talk, smoothly about your research project? And you can also ask them to tell you about their research work. They will also ask you what is institution? They want to know that, are you bothered to read about us? Do you care about us? And how do you care about the student body? As a student, do you care about what the students are doing here? Okay, so please go and read about the activities or the social event that are um, managed by students. They're also asking why pursuing a PhD. They want to know, are you thinking of staying in academia or someone who, might be interested in going into industry? And that's a conversation you can ask them. You can, reverse that questions. Is the institution supportive if you don't want to go into academia, and they can tell you about their opinion or what is happening in the department? And then they will also ask you, what make you a great candidate? Why should we select you? At least that's a question that I ask. As part of the interview process, make sure that you dress, you know, to impress, but you wear comfortable clothes. Why do I make a lot of emphasis on this? Well, you're going to go through a lot of stairs. You're going to go up and down. You're going to have a tour. So want to make sure that you are dressing comfortably so that you can move around. Okay. And plus, it could be a very long day. So you can gonna go to long hallways. Okay. So make sure that you are dressed accordingly. That goes to say that while you're moving from one place to another, most of the interview, you're going to have to go to the PI's, office. So for that reason, you want to be able to dress in comfortable shoes, especially because you were carrying your bag, you're carrying all your stuff. So you want to make sure that you keep all your things with you and you don't lose them, and you don't, are not asking other students to hold your belonging. I seen this to happen. Okay, so make sure you're comfortable. Now the social event. If you are doing an in-person interview, definitely not this. A person event is not this. So make sure when you hear the social event, this is a professional social gathering. Something more like this. Could be a dinner in a restaurant or as one of the faculty's place. This is a place to assess your social skill, professionalism, be more casual. It's a place where you can, relax. You also learn about how the people within the department interact with each other. How do they feel when they are relaxed too? So there might be alcohol. So if you never drink alcohol before, just don't drink. And just make sure that you are in the interview process. So this is not time to relax. This is time to, you know, kind of relax a little bit, but you are in the interview mode. Okay, please. This is not a a session for critiquing anybody or anything about the program. This is definitely not a place to talk about how your school is better than this one and how everything you saw online is not exactly what you're seeing now. Please don't ever talk about those things during the social gathering. Okay. And if you happen to be accepted to your dream school, this is not also a place where you can start, saying that, well, I'm not interested in the rest of the interview because I already got accepted. I have heard that people get accepted while they are in the interview process. So just keep it to yourself. Use that energy to, get to know more people. This could also be an opportunity for networking, but please do not do any of those things. You are in the interview mode. And with this, I hope that I was able to convince you that part of the process is to research the program. You already researched the program, okay? So it's more practicing. Make sure that you know the school and you know the faculty. And if you have the list of students ahead of time, go to LinkedIn and read about them. Know your application, know your sign. So you feel comfortable talking about it. Practice your questions. Do mock interview, okay? If you're doing a virtual interview, go to that room, get yourself familiar, feel comfortable, sit on your chair, so you are completely prepared. Okay, prepare your question. Do not go without any questions. You have done all the work possible, and the question that you're asking maybe was not clear on the website, and you're asking those questions. Okay, there have to be questions to ask. Perform a mock interview and stay calm and confident. I know um, you are nervous because you care. You really care about this. This is very important. So use that energy to get a acceptance letter. Get that energy, stay calm, but you will do great because you're here and you are already preparing for this. And once the interview is over, and this is when you are home, when you are at your place, this is when you can actually relax. You've done your best, and just sit down and just wait for for that email. Good luck with your interview preparation. Okay. And before you start grad school, do take a break. Okay. Because you're going to start working very hard and it's going to be a new process. It's going to be completely new to you. So make sure that you are rested, you're calm, and you're ready to go. You just don't work and start school right away. Okay. Just take a break, even if it's a week. Okay. With this, I want to thank Científico Latino for inviting me to help students to prepare for their graduate school interview. I always think about how I felt when I was interviewed. And so this is something that I do from the bottom of my heart. I really enjoy as a non-traditional student, as a minority, helping is my thing. So thank you, Scientific Latino, for contributing, changing the next generation of STEM.
Thank you so much, Maria, for taking the time to provide these valuable insights into the interview process and for covering all this range of amazing subjects that I'm very sure will be very useful to our participants. Um, so we do have a few minutes that we can dedicate to answering some of people's questions. So if you want to join us in answering these questions, I know Denisha is typing some answers. I've been typing some answers as well. And please, I do want to encourage all of the participants to, if you can think about other questions that we can answer in the next minutes, please do not leave this webinar without any doubts because interviews are very important and they're pivotal to your admissions into your dream graduate program. So, we really want to help you get into your dream program. So yeah, so I'll get started with a question that was posted on the Q&A, which is how can we answer the question, what makes you a strong candidate while sounding not self-centered, but also highlighting your best aspects?
Yes, I remember this question. And from my experience and being in the process from the other side of the table, this and this is my opinion. This is a competition, honestly. You are you are you are competing with other people, okay? And I know I personally, don't want to. I don't like to sound that way. I don't like to feel like I like to show off and that. But this is a competition, and you're already selected as a potential candidate. So they're already seeing that you have strength. So make sure that you remind them, yes, indeed, these are my strengths. I should be here. I am an ideal candidate and have reasons for why. All your accomplishments are all your strengths. And do not be afraid of, saying those things and be confident saying because this is the competition. You are competing against other people. So just do it.
So thank you so much. Yeah, like there's always a healthy level of braggy. So
Yes,
yeah, don't let that fear of like not being too braggy keep you from really highlighting the things that really set you apart from other candidates. So, just go for it. And if you're very confident that you have a strength, just throw it out there because this is your shot at doing so.
look at your CV. Look at everything that you have accomplished to this point. That make you a strong candidate. Are unique. So make sure to say it. I'm a very shy person, honestly. So I know it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. But you have worked for this so hard. And you are, at this moment. So do everything possible and just have a balance in between, healthy bragging. I like that.
We have another question that is the following. When asking potential supervisors question, should we ask what their expectations are in terms of working hours in the lab, numbers of publications they expect us to complete, or can we reward that in a way that sounds I mean, so if it sounds a bit too straightforward, can it be rewarded?
I would reward it, you know. You don't want to come across as doesn't sound like you're going to be committed into this. It sounds like you are afraid of working too hard, or you're already, telling me you're going to work the least amount of hours and you're going to publish the least amount of paper. I will rephrase it. And this is a question that I will hold for interviewing for rotations. I think this is more appropriate, more direct because you're going to interview, they're going to interview you when it comes time to rotate in the lab. So it's not like once you're interviewed for the program, this is it. You interview with the faculty, you're gonna come, but hey, I'm gonna rotate, we're done. No, there's another interview process that you want to then speak to their lab members, and they will also tell you. So there are questions that I feel are more appropriate to getting into the PhD program, and then questions to getting into the lab for rotations, and then questions if you want to join the lab. So try to phrase it in a way that is not so direct and hold it for later.
Yes. Thank you so much for that answer. We have another question here, which is, what is more important, knowing about your research or knowing the research of the interviewer? And then there's a comment saying, for insurance, there will be things that I will not know about my research if they ask me enough questions or very niche questions. And there will be things I won't know about their research. So, where should someone put their time more?
Okay, let me start with your work. You definitely know some amount of information at your level that is relevant. I bet you that you do not know anything. You do know enough. And it's hard for you to know everything. And this is the reason why you're going to pursue the PhD. Okay. I'm assuming that you did not run the grant for this project. And there might be information that you just don't know. But can you think about answers, how to respond? Okay. So it's fine. There's going to be things that you're not going to know. The whole idea is that you know enough. You have done your best to be informed. And the same goes with their work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so we also have to get comfortable with saying I don't know sometimes. And then like, we can always say the classical, oh, that's a very interesting question and I will look more into it. If you have any predictions, you can, say like, don't take my word for it, but like I predict that this might be a good answer for that question. So, like find some comfort in also not knowing every single thing, but try your best to know as much as possible at the same time.
And
Um,
re
yeah.
rely on the literature. Based on the literature, I would do this, or this will be, my best. This is what I think is best. So it also shows that you've been reading, you are informed, and of course, you're not going to know everything.
Yeah, so there's currently no more questions in the Q&A, but I do want to re-ask this question from the chat, which we've gotten a few times. So I would like your perspective on this question, which is about people who work on multiple research projects, and when they are asked about, their research, should they talk about all of their research projects, or should they just, choose one or two?
So I would say research associate before I came to graduate school. So I was working on multiple projects. So I highlighted the one that I had the most, impact. That does not mean that you're not going to talk about the rest. So trying to pick the one that you feel more comfortable and you have done the most amount of work. Just be ready if they ask about anything else.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's also what I typed in one of the answers. Like, always like choose the one you're more confident in if you do get the choice to choose whatever. But there will be times in which some PIs had read your CV and they would be very interested in a single project that's probably not the one you're currently working on or the one you're more confident in. So it's always good to have in the back of your head the knowledge about every single thing that you've worked on.
Hmm. And you probably wrote about it in a personal statement.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, I think there's no more questions for now. So, oh yeah, so we just got another question. Cool. And we still have a few more minutes. So the question goes like this. When asked about goals for after graduate school, is it okay to share that you might want to work in academic or industry? Is it negatively viewed upon sharing that you might want to work in industry? That's like a really good question.
Yes, I know. And it's feel very, kind of nervous about because if you are going into the PhD program, is it expected for me just to also pursue a career in academia? Um, Many school understand that not everyone is going to become a PI. So I think you're going to get a feeling about it as soon as you get there. And you probably will see it on their website already. How many students are going to academia or industry? And is the school supportive for that or not? Career development. So these are good questions to ask the student about how is career development here? Are they open to people who pursue academia or did you want to go to industry or do something else? So I really can say that more schools are very open that many students just don't follow the traditional path or PhD, postdoc, and become an assistant professor and then tenure. So, and, and honestly, I think you should find a way how to ask this question because you don't want to go there. And if you're, if you're really not planning on academia, and this is a place that is only academia, you must go into academia and then you find yourself stuck, in a way stuck. So I think this is an information that you definitely must get in the interview.
Yeah, and also like very often it's very PI dependent too. So I think
Hmm.
a way that you can do your vibe check would be by asking about the career outcomes of graduate students and postdocs in that lab and kind of
Hmm.
get a feel of the excitement that the PI shows about students who go to industry or science diplomacy or other careers. and strategize accordingly. Because like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, what you want to do is get into the program. Then after you're in the
Hmm.
program, you can say whatever you want about what you want to do with your life, and they can't take the offer away from you once you're in there.
Yes, that's the reason why I said,
Yeah.
in asking questions to the PI, do not fixate on one person because it's that, your dream person. You get there and like, oh, you have to go to academia. I'm like, and there's nobody else you want to work with. Make sure you have backup. And you should definitely have more than one person that you're interested in.
Yes. Awesome, awesome. So we're at 12:57, so almost at the time. We got one more question that we're going to be answering. And please, for if you guys have any other questions, like do not hesitate to contact us. Our information is in the Científico Latino website. And if Maria feels comfortable sharing her email,
Yes.
like she can do
Mm.
so as well. But no pressure at all, but yeah, like just know that as you get your interview invites and more questions come, like do not hesitate to contact us. We're here to help. So the last question that we'll take is, are there any recommendations when you're applying to a lab that does research a bit different than what you have done in the past?
Yes, I worked in different type of research. As an undergrad, I worked with mosquitoes. Then I did a summer program in TL again, and then so many different things. So I think it's good to show that you're open to learn new things. And in the PhD should be a place that you can explore, especially take the opportunity when you're rotating. So you want to have, I mean, if you never done organic chemistry or anything like that, and your grade were not the best in organic chemistry, you really need to find a way how to justify organic chemistry. I mean, you can probably do it, go for it, but just be realistic.
That's great. Thank you so much for your answers, Maria. And once again, like everyone, join me in thanking Maria for the amazing resources she just shared with us and for dedicating time out of her busy schedule as a PhD student to talk to us today. And again, everyone, congrats again on submitting all of your grad school applications. Best of luck during interviews and find ways to entertain yourself and relax as you're waiting for the outcomes of your applications. It will all be okay, and we're here to help regardless of the outcome.
Yes, yes, it will be okay.